Hi, a very good day to everyone. My name is Edward. I'm the founder of Newwave Synchronizer. We are a website and apps development company. So yeah, very happy to be here to be sharing with you about the today's topic will be how to ensure your tech project is going to succeed or fail. Basically, um, so far, I mean, from what we have experienced, why also we choose this topic is because I feel a lot of people who are starting on their own, especially now, people are more prone or more familiar with technology. They are more open with this in terms of implementing tech into their company, while either internally or whether externally. Internally means whether they're using it uh, for their internal system, or either they use it as a SaaS model. But most of the time, the challenges people face is that they can't find either they can't find the talent, or either they have all the issues that they have in terms of the budget. And also we're going to walk through you a few challenges that the startup will face, or even companies that they have this type of issues, and how what can we go about it to avoid some of the mistakes, especially some mistakes that our client have faced, and maybe hopefully you get some takeaway with it. Okay, so let's get started. So let's start with this. I know this they say set goals, setting expecting. I mean the setting the expectations. This is actually important. What I mean by all this is, like, let's say you are building a system or website, whatever it is that you plan to be using or launching. Do you plan to be using it more for internal, and are you planning to sell it away, or are you planning to have certain type of users to be using this system? So in terms of goals, a simple example is like one of our client, they have a system where they use it to process their basically their clothing orders lah. They sell clothes online basically, and so they it's basically they're focused on selling it online, and their customers all online. So basically you need to make sure to realize that you build this system is for your internal use, because you are internally, yes, you'll be using the back end order, but at the same time your front end customers will be the one that coming in to place the order. Now, what is the difference? Front end means like the people coming to the website to place the clothing orders. So it's like, come, let's say they come to this website, www.clothes.com example, and how's the user experience like? So you need to set that foundation of the target, whether this whole thing is for who is the main users of it. And you need to be also very clear as well, if it's an internal system or is it external. In another example, internal is like, let's say another client we have is for, they use it for their own internal um, managing their sales, I mean managing their customers. So they they just want to track what are the interactions of the customers that they have previously interacted with, and it's only for them to use only. So sometimes in that case, aesthetic might not be so important. Aesthetic meaning to say the look and feel, because they and they're in the travel line. So basically, all they need is just making sure what they've interacted with the customer is, and how they are using. I mean, how what are the previous orders that the customer has placed. Basically, it's a simple CRM system lah, and that is more internally for them to use. Now, also bear in mind is the costing as well sometimes, because it's not everything will be ready, when you are using it. So first is define all your target, where you what do you want this system to be using it first. So once you have that, then you can start moving towards the next part already, how you want to do it. So as I mentioned, keeping it as simple as possible, because without the users using it, sometimes bosses, we have big dreams, yes, that's important, but if you don't put something very simple for your users to use it first, or your customers to use it first, you won't know whether this is what they want. So if you already launch the product, and then they realize, hey, I think we, like example, the simple example, the CRM, they may miss out certain categories. Sometimes we don't the customers don't think ahead, or some things that may be missing. Yes, we already spent some time, but in terms of defining the requirements, understanding the whole flow, but sometimes when their internal users uses it, then only they realize, something is there. So that's why you need to keep it as simple as possible. Let them use first, and then you start using it. So that's why we are recommending a few terms that I'm not sure you've seen it before: open source, and also sometimes we call this low code also software. Open source is like basically you get started first in terms of like this free software alone, but you just need to customize a little bit of things so that you can immediately use the software first and see whether this flow fits into your organization or not. So you don't really need to, now in today's technology era, there's so many things available out there already in terms of there's ready-made CRM system, there's ready-made e-commerce websites. It's, you don't have to start from scratch. So open source is one of them where you can just immediately set up and implement and immediately see whether this flow, whether it's suitable for your organization to use or not. And if it is, then great, then you can expand it from there. If not, then fine tune the flow. Otherwise, um, just remember you need human to operate it. So that's why this part, open source or low code, is where you can get things started and immediately get your users to use it, whether it's user friendly, not user friendly. If it's not user friendly, why? And then maybe you explore also what are the softwares out there and whether this you can match your costing as well or not. Okay. Now, build in phases as well. Phases is like sometimes you really need, you don't finish everything then only only you start using it. Phases is going to be the first phase. Example, they can just key in the data. Example. So in terms of beautiful reports and beautiful, let's say, user interface, is not yet needed yet, especially if it's internal. So at least you get the users to key in the data in terms of whether they are usable or not, and whether this information is sufficient. Otherwise, if you don't put that in phase, the next part will not come. So once you start keying in, then you only start seeing maybe the simple data first, and then only you start beautify that second part, like reporting. And then maybe after reporting, maybe you think of automation, how to avoid less mistake. Yeah. So from there, you see the user behavior. It could even be your customer. Instead of internal usage, you build a e-commerce website example. So the flow could be the first part. Maybe you showcase this banner, does and make sure allow a simple purchase first. And if your customers start asking different things, how do I find this? How do I find this product? Maybe you need to start improving, like maybe put a search button somewhere else and see how they would react to it and how they would respond to it. But of course, all these things comes also in the sense that finding the talent. If you are having difficulty to manage the IT team, especially internally, sometimes another option you may want to consider is to outsource. Now it's so easy to outsource out there. You just Google or find, there's so many marketplaces for talents to speak to them and ask them how can they help you, or what would they suggest. Sometimes they will even give you better ideas as well in terms of building the systems. But of course, vet through, and of course test, always test. That's where phases always finish in phases. Once you finish a certain phase, make sure that phase is ready, and then you move to the next part, so that it's not one lump sum altogether. Okay. Yeah, and this is the part, also validate as well. So test and validate as well. So in the sense that, let's say sometimes as you are doing it, your operations are the one who your users, let's say your the people operating the website, sometimes the boss is the one that wants the direction, but the people who are operating the system and also the website are the one who is able to tell this is what they want or this is not what they want. They could be a certain report, it could be um, how they input the data, whether it is too troublesome or whether it is too easy. Oh, if too easy, that's the best part. But if it's too troublesome, then it's, you need to then refine that again. It's like, okay, is it because you're asking the customer too many information that these customers are not responding so well in terms of registering or in terms of buying? or there's too many things inside there, the website, that the customer get confused, or even the CRM system where there's too many fields to put in. Maybe they just want to keep something simple for the customer first, to capture the data first, then only you ask other things, and then you reward the customer, example. So this is something that you need to put into consideration, validating it at the same time. So do not one shot immediately dump everything inside and build the whole thing and you think that's ready for it. No, it needs to have different user requirements. Sometimes you have the full system, but remember there could be different users inside. Like just how even a simple e-commerce website, there's a front-end customer, they are one type of user. There's the admin who's operating the e-commerce site. Are they okay with that backend? Are they okay with operating the website? And then there's another type where sometimes external, where you check the payment gateway in terms of whether it's convenient for the accounts to do that. So you see all this, there's so many different stages that you need their feedback to see whether this is suitable for the company and also the client or the customers who's using the system. Okay, a quick case study that I wanted to share. There's this customer of ours who's trying to customize a whole e-commerce, a revolutionary e-commerce website, but they spent nearly almost $1 million and nothing much came out of it. The mistake was that they actually hired a full team and to build the whole entire e-commerce site up. They could have just get a ready-made system and then see whether how it works first, whether the product will sell, whether people will be okay to use the product. If not, why I'm sharing this because we came in at a time where it's at the end of the is they already spent too much already basically. So we have to somehow salvage him and help them out. So we told him, let's just quickly come up with a running site for you to sell first, and let's do that first. At least you see whether your customer will buy first. If not, if you don't launch the e-commerce site, you don't know whether they'll buy or not, right? So they already spent that much onto it, and they agreed to the idea, and luckily we still managed to launch it already. But you don't have to go through hiring a full-time developers and spending $1 million on that. So it's a bit painful on that, if you ask me. They could have just keep it simple and just see whether use ready e-commerce. Yes, it's very common. Just launch it, see the people whether they buy or not. I think they could have done that first, but it's a good lesson. But at least now we have helped them out on something. The second part I want to share is implementing as fast as there's this client who we have who has many back-end processes. They're in the medical industry, and they wanted to ease their whole operation team to make sure that everything is in proper order in terms of the customers are well communicated, they are managing their equipment properly and everything. But problem is that there's too many systems available, too many systems to build. So, and there'll be too many flows. So what we did is simplify the whole thing. We start as simple as a Google form and Google Sheet to make sure that you can do some scripting, just some tips on that, and make sure that the whole flow is correct first. We get the whole data is correct first. Then only we start building the actual system for them. But at least they are using it first in terms of this spreadsheet, and also that they know that this is what they want, the flow. Otherwise, you build something and it's a white elephant and it might not work properly to what they want. So you see, even as simple as Google Spreadsheet works and Google Form, and you can give it a try as well. So I hope this is helpful in terms of some ideas for you to get yourself started on this. Okay, that's my last slide. But in summary, in short, don't think too much or don't overthink. You need to get your product as fast as possible into the market, and make sure that you get the users to use it first, because they are your actual feedback. Your operation guys who's running the system, your customer who's coming to the website to buy, they are your actual users. Once you launch it out there as soon as possible, then get the feedback and improve from there, whether it's something the market wants or not. And yeah, don't be afraid to outsource. Don't be afraid to use low code to try it out. The main thing is get the product out there and immediately test it out. And then hopefully you can launch your product. And of course, not giving up. Most important is not giving up and making sure again to fine tune the whole entire process and improving along the way. So with that, I hope this is able to help you, and thank you so much. Let me know. These are my contacts, and anything we can catch up from there as well. Have a good time.